I am on the phone with Robert Mruczek, and we're going to be talking about some crappy games for the upcoming third annual inaugural webcasting crap game tournament of Champions Championship. Robert has actually been quite a help behind the scenes for the first two. A number of you know that. Started out with me with a huge list of games and sending those games out to him and asking him, as a former referee with experience with these games, he'd probably have some insight to share. So he helped out, went through a lot of titles, told me which ones what might be problems, which ones don't play well, which ones are difficult to do on keyboards, things of that nature. But it's definitely been a driving force behind the scenes, and actually last year suggested the wonderful title Navarone, which I believe Robert said he's going to do a marathon at some point this year. What made you pick Navarone?
I was on a kick of, I would say, putting scores into the TG database for any title from the 1970s. I was working sequentially by year. And the reason that this title stuck with me is because, first of all, it was kind of like a U-shaped version of Space Invaders. And additionally, I took an early affinity to it. I liked the fact that there was a time-based aspect to it, where Space Invaders, it's just simply a matter of kill them before the last invader reaches the bottom of the screen. Here, you have a quantifiable time frame within which to do this, and there was point scabbing opportunities in the middle of the game, which I found that there was patterns that I could take advantage of. And before I know it, I was looking at my score just a couple of months ago, and I was at, 150,000. I wasn't even bothering to record the game. I was just playing for fun.
The crap game tournament, when I first sent you titles here, I guess 2 years ago.
That's Crapapalooza 1 or Crapalooza 1?
Yes, exactly. Now, did you enjoy the idea of that type of format?
Yeah, it was never done before, a lame-a-thon, or however you want to call it. It's actually a novel concept, because there's a lot of underrated titles, and just because a title's lame doesn't mean it's enjoyable to at least try it. Grouping them all together at once is an amusing challenge at the very least, and it's a unique one in the second respect. So it was intriguing to see someone taking the time to put it all together and to make an enjoyable going of it for the players that were interested in participating.
Yeah, it was actually kind of weird the way it started. The actual origins was when people just first started really getting into the webcasting. You had Ross was streaming a lot of Donkey Kong. Dean Saglio was doing a lot of Donkey Kong. But then you got John Bart, Justin Zurst there on the forums, a bunch of those guys kind of streaming, Mark Akeel. And it started out where we'd kind of meet up, find a couple guys going head-to-head on something, and it would start up, okay, let's go to a site here and look through, and here's a game we've never heard of. Just kind of try your skills, see who the best gamer is on the spot. You have to figure it out. It's not a well-known title. Of course, the point of that was nobody has any experience at all with the titles in the past. And it was just a head-to-head thing. We do a 2 out of 3, just on a night, and then we decided, you know what, why don't we make an event of this? And it definitely turned into something people enjoy. And I think it's kind of neat. The webcasting aspect I liked because it kind of was the closest thing you could get to looking over someone's shoulder in an arcade. It's not an IMP. You hear a lot of the guys have the microphones hooked up, so you can hear the reactions to these games. The bad deaths or the horrible things. And then actually you find some gems in there too. There were some that sounded horrible, and you look at the size of the file and you say, oh, this has got to be a piece of crap. But there are ones that people actually go back to, again and again, just because there are actually some pretty good gems in the field of cow pies, I guess.
Well, one man's crappy game is another man's enjoyment. It all depends on your perspective and what types of games you enjoy playing. Like, I know that there are people that enjoy the challenge of whether or not they can take a very punishing title in terms of dexterity, or even something that's programmed so badly that it takes an incredible amount of luck and skill to get through it. Some people just enjoy the challenge of something like that, and as a result, a title that is god-awful bad, like Lager, to some players, they'll never touch it, and other players, well, they'll just bang away at it until they have a new world record at it, and they'll be proud of it.
Now, this year, You are going to play along, although not
Oh yeah, yeah.
webcasting.
As long as I got the ROM sets, as long as everything's working, I am definitely going to play along, and I'm not going to just turn in, no pun intended, a lame score. I'll give it my all and see how I do, and I'll have fun doing it, no matter how I turn out.
The titles?
Yeah.
Oh, the titles, that'll be announced on, let's see, 11 p.m. on the eve of the tourney. I believe May 9th is a Monday, so it'll be 11 p.m. Sunday the 8th.
And how many days or weeks is it?
It's 1 week.
1 week? Oh, that's perfect.
Yep, because we used to have it 72 hours. They used to announce the game list on 11 p.m. on a Thursday. And then players had all of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and had to be done, midnight Sunday, midnight Monday, technically. But this year, to give everybody the maximum amount of time, we're going to do a full week. So we're actually going to announce everything so everybody gets an hour or so to get ROMs if they need them. We announce that at 11 p.m. on Sunday, May 8th. Yep, and we figured that way ending on the weekend would be the best. I wasn't sure whether to start it on the weekend like we had in the past, but what we'll wind up doing is it'll technically start at 12 a.m. Monday the 9th, and then that way that final weekend people do the weekend push. And what we're going to do is take one of these titles we'll decide on will be a mystery title, and that will be announced on midnight Friday. So last 72 hours only for that mystery title. People have to do it. But yeah, hopefully that'll allow more people to play and get involved in this one this year. We actually have.
I hope so too. It definitely is something that even if you do not like to play titles that are not, I'd say, stellar in terms of recognition, a true gamer will never pass up a chance to challenge their skill set in a first-time situation, just to see how they rank. Mm-hmm. A true gamer will always give it a shot.
Yeah, that was the one thing I liked just as much as the webcasting part, which I always thought was great because you can kind of watch, like I said, over your buddy's shoulder, as it were. But the fact that these games are not known pretty much by anybody. And it used to be you weren't allowed to look them up, couldn't have played them once. Now and again, it's hard to find a game that nobody has played once. When you're getting 4 or 5 guys in here.
True, but if you think about it, some of these games are so bad, most people will only play them once.
That is true, and I always love to see how quickly people find out a leech in these games. I believe in the past, we allowed a leech or two on certain games because we said, well, it is a crap tournament, so go ahead and do what you got to do. Of course, that means if you're watching his replay, you can obviously exploit the same leech, or even just learning patterns or anything. It's really, I always like that. It's everybody's got a head start generally on a game. This guy plays Donkey Kong, has played for 20 years. This guy's only played for a few months. But if you get a pile of people, and again, first-time games, which I know Fun Spot tries to do, at least lesser known. But of course, with MAME, it's a lot easier to find the games nobody's played. But like you said, I like to take the take your skill sets up against your virgin performances of the games, and at the end of a certain amount of time, see who stepped up and is actually the the core gamer.